in the heart of Africa lies a land of ancient kingdoms. Of gold, of faith, and of resilience. This land, Sudan, once symbolized hope after years of dictatorship, but today, it stands shattered. Consumed by a brutal war that few outside its borders truly understand, the streets of Khartoum, once filled with laughter and life, now echo with gunfire and despair. This is the story of a war between brothers, a war that began with politics, and became a human catastrophe, a war the world has chosen to forget. The root of the conflict. To understand Sudan's war, we must go back in time, to 2019, after 30 long years of dictatorship under Omar al-Bashir. The people of Sudan rose in one of Africa's most inspiring revolutions. Protesters filled the streets, men, women, students, professionals, all demanding freedom, justice, and civilian rule. Bashir was overthrown, and power shifted to a fragile partnership between the Sudanese armed forces, led by General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, and the Rapid Support Forces, commanded by Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, better known as Hemedti. Together, they promised a democratic transition, but behind the scenes, tension brewed. The army saw itself as Sudan's guardian. The RSF, a paramilitary born from the feared Janjaweed militia of Darfur, had grown powerful, wealthy, and ambitious. Their uneasy alliance was a ticking bomb. The day war began, on the morning of April 15, 2023, that bomb exploded. In Khartoum, the sound of machine guns tore through the air, fighter jets roared over the capital. Columns of smoke rose from government buildings. Within hours, the Sudanese armed forces and the RSF were locked in fierce combat, fighting street by street, block by block. Civilians were trapped inside their homes as shells rained down, hospitals turned into battlefields. Ambulances were shot at. For the first time in modern history, Sudan's own capital had become a war zone. The internet went dark, power failed, and as the world watched in silence, Khartoum descended into chaos. A nation in flames. The war quickly spread beyond the capital. In the western region of Darfur, old wounds reopened. The RSF, once the Janjaweed, returned to the villages they had terrorized 2 decades before. Reports emerged of massacres, ethnic killings, and villages burned to ashes. In El Janina, hundreds were slaughtered in a matter of days. In North Kordofan, homes were raided, women assaulted, children abducted. Satellite images showed entire towns erased from the map. The army responded with airstrikes and artillery, destroying entire neighborhoods in its attempt to crush the RSF. But the paramilitary fought back fiercely, using guerrilla tactics, seizing airports, and capturing military bases. Sudan's skies became a battlefield, its cities, a graveyard. The human cost. Today, the war has created one of the worst humanitarian crises on earth. Over 11 million people have fled their homes, the largest displacement crisis in the world right now. Refugees are pouring into Chad, South Sudan, Egypt, and Ethiopia, crossing deserts with no food, no water, and no shelter. Inside Sudan, half the population, more than 25 million people, depend on aid just to survive, but aid can barely reach them. Roads are blocked, convoys attacked, and warehouses looted. In makeshift camps, children die of hunger. Mothers dig shallow graves in the sand. Hospitals have collapsed. Doctors operate by candlelight. Cholera and malaria are spreading. In the ruins of Khartoum, people say they can smell the war, the stench of death in the air. Yet, even now, the fighting continues. Politics and power switch tone, investigative, steady pace. Behind the bloodshed lies a struggle for control. The Sudanese armed forces want to preserve their traditional power, their control over the state and its institutions. The RSF, enriched through gold mining and foreign backing, dreams of a new order, one where Hemedti rules. Regional powers are also involved. The United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Russia, and Wagner mercenaries have all been accused of fueling the conflict through weapons, money, or alliances. Sudan has become a battlefield not just for its people, but for the interests of others. The world's silence has only emboldened the fighters. Ceasefires have been announced, then broken within hours. Peace talks have failed again and again. Each time the guns stop, they soon roar again, louder, deadlier. The forgotten war, while the world focuses on Ukraine, Gaza, and other global crises. Sudan's suffering fades into the shadows, news outlets rarely mention it, social media trends move on, but in the deserts of Darfur, in the ruins of Omdurman, and in the camps of Port Sudan, millions still fight to survive each day. They whisper the same question: does the world still remember us? And the silence that follows is deafening. Hope amidst ruins, yet even in the darkest nights, Sudanese courage shines. Volunteers risk their lives to deliver food and medicine, women's groups secretly teach children in refugee camps, artists paint murals of peace on bombed-out walls. They say, if we stop hoping, we stop living. Because for Sudan, hope is the only weapon left, and someday, when the guns fall silent, the people of Sudan will rebuild, not just their cities, but their dreams. The war in Sudan is not over, it is still happening, right now. As you listen to this, entire generations are being lost to a war that was never theirs, but history has shown, even after the darkest storms, dawn always comes. Sudan's story is not finished, and as long as voices keep telling it, the world will not forget. Please like, share and subscribe to Black Record's channel so that more people can see this video and Sudan can be saved.